Good day, everyone. My name is Dallas McClain with Biohackers Magazine. We're here at the Biohacking Congress in Las Vegas, where we're very excited to learn from over 30 great speakers and professionals, healthcare professionals, also healthcare companies, health companies geared towards longevity and a better life. Be sure to check out biohackingcongress.com to see if you can get tickets to the next Congress in Boston, June 11th and June 12th. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Don Moxley, the science guy, as
I'm
he
the
likes to be
science
known
guy,
as,
yeah.
of Longevity Labs. So, Don, welcome. Great to have you.
Thanks. We're excited to be here. It's a good opportunity, so thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. We love learning from individuals like yourself, and we're going to get right to it with asking you what Longevity Labs is, what you guys stand for, and what is your mission?
So Longevity Labs is a nutritional company. So we were founded in Graz, Austria. The founder was a guy by the name of Dr. Frank Medeo, Dr. Frank Medeo. And Frank is a researcher in the longevity space, and he identified a molecule that's key in a process that's called autophagy. So autophagy is a cellular cleaning process, relatively newly understood. They gave a Nobel Prize in 2016 to the Japanese researcher that really described it. But autophagy is one of these key cellular cleaning processes, and when that happens, typically triggered with fasting, calorie restriction. But what we found is there's a molecule in there that's called spermidine. It's a molecule, it's called a polyamine. So there's 3 nitrogens and 7 carbons and the accompanying hydrogens. But this is in the cell, and it's a key element in this autophagy pathway. So as spermidine levels decrease, autophagy decreases. As spermidine levels increase, autophagy increases. So it increases that efficiency of fasting, and again leads to longevity through the process.
Okay, so building off of that, what happens when autophagy decreases? What are we able to see by the naked eye?
Well, you don't see things by the naked eye, but what you see is an increase in inflammation.
Okay.
So as autophagy goes up, inflammation goes down, and it reverses itself. And a lot of age-related disease, when you look at cancers, neural diseases, things like that, they're inflammatory-related diseases. And what we're finding is that there's a natural decrease in autophagy, there's a natural decrease in spermidine with age that can be reversed with supplementation.
And that's what your product focuses on?
What our product does. We extract spermidine from spermidine-rich wheat germ that's processed in Central Europe. We can't do it in this country. We just can't find spermidine-rich wheat. But it comes from Central Europe, southern Germany, northern Italy, Austria. And that's what our product does.
So, being that you're the science guy, can you go into the science a little bit of how spermidine works with the cell? Is it inside the vacuole, or how does
Nope. So autophagy happens in the cytosol of the cell, so in the center of the cell. And what happens is when the cell recognizes a need to start to clean itself up, it will, from the endoplasmic reticulum, it'll peel off a double-sided membrane, which will encapsulate the parts of the cell that need digestion, old mitochondria, proteins that are no longer functional. And that what becomes what's called an autophagome. Okay. And then that autophagome gets bonded with what's called a lysosome, another organelle, and it digests what's in it. So if it's a protein, those amino acids go back into the cell for reuse, and everything basically breaks down to proteins, to amino acids, but they're no longer gumming up the cell anymore. And so one of the things that we see with autophagy, with spermidine-driven autophagy, we see a drop in neural problems. So the buildup of plaques in our neural cells a lot of times are associated with a lot of the diseases associated with that. Mm-hmm. So we have a study that came out of Berlin last year that showed patients with dementia, when they started supplementing spermidine, the development of dementia stopped. It reversed it. So, wow. So you stop developing dementia. So that's that neural cell becoming healthier. We see it with cardiovascular health too. That the cells in the heart and the endothelial lining of the arteries and veins, they improve because we have this improved autophagy process. So we see improved autophagy. We see improved immune response because the cells are cleaner. We see improved cardiovascular benefit. We see and we also see an upregulation of epithelial skin cell stem cells. So one of the things that we see with spermidine supplementation, you actually start to notice your nails growing really fast, 3 to 5 weeks after you start using it.
Huh. This is like different from biotin in a way.
Yeah. It's so biotin's a protein.
Right.
So that we're driving a process. That what we've learned and what Dr. Medeo figured out is that we're up-regulating this autophagy process, and there's just lots of benefits that come from that.
So is the idea just to supplement because we can't get the spermidine from our natural diet?
It's not in the natural diet. This is the challenge, and we're continuing to look at that. We expect to get FDA approval that it's going to be an essential nutrient at some point in time. Then if you're over 45 years old, you probably can't modify your diet to the point where you can get a sufficient spermidine level in the diet.
So it's a necessary supplementation.
It's going to be we think it'll become an essential nutrient, much like a vitamin.
And you said that you're using spermidine from Europe mostly because it's not found in America.
We just can't find that much spermidine-rich wheat.
Okay.
And agricultural processes in Europe are different than the United States.
Right.
And so much of the United States agricultural process is about producing volume, not necessarily looking at nutrient content. And in Europe's a little different that way.
Right,
So
yeah,
we get a little better product.
Yeah. So spermidine then, is it something that anyone can just take, or is it regulated? Like, how does that
No,
work?
we don't have a regulation. It's a wheat germ extract. So it's pretty safe. We've measured safety up to 12 milligrams a day. The minimum required, or the European Union minimum dosage is 1 milligram a day. We're just releasing a 6 milligram a day product that will be available through physicians. So again, we've measured safety to 12 milligrams a day, and we've got people using it at a fairly significant level.
So how often is the ideal individual supposed to take this supplement, and is it something they're just supposed to take for the rest of their lives, or
it's we're figuring that out.
Okay.
To answer the question, we're figuring that out. But I think you treat longevity the way you treat your financial longevity. So if you think it's important to invest in a 401k so that you have financial longevity, it may be time to start to invest in nutritional longevity and start to add this as part. What we know is that spermidine levels don't come up naturally on their own. We know they go down naturally on their own. And so once you figure out that's part of it, you probably need to add it.
So when you say they don't come up naturally on their own, there's nothing else an individual could do besides just eating a wheat germ with spermidine in it?
If you can get a spermidine-rich wheat germ.
Right, which is really hard to find.
That's the hard part.
I see.
That's the hard part.
So other than Spermidine Life, which is your product, is there anything else that Longevity Labs offers in supplementation with that?
At this point, no.
Okay.
But we keep your eyes open. We are looking at bringing on some other supportive products that align with cellular health, autophagy. So we are working on that. So I think probably by the end of the year, you'll see some new product offerings coming from us.
By the end of the year. Okay. And then my last question would be surrounding the pandemic and everything that's happened and people, focusing more on themselves because of the time they've had and everything. Do you think that's increased awareness of this autophagy process and diseases?
Absolutely. And you mentioned the pandemic. So what we know, what's very clear is that the coronavirus interferes with the autophagy mechanism of the cell. We know that. It overproduces the autophagone production at the beginning. It interferes with the lysosome bonding at the end. So if you can have increased autophagy from other sources, there wasn't as big a problem with the coronavirus. We have a paper that came out of Berlin a year ago, showed that human immune cells that were supplemented with spermidine stopped COVID transmission 85, 90, 92% of the time. We're doing some research in England right now at Oxford looking at spermidine with vaccination without. So there's no doubt that when we take a look at the pandemic and the coronavirus, when you look at the people that really suffered from this, we talk about comorbidities, people that had comorbidities, diabetes, things like this. These are inflammatory rated responses. These are people that had low autophagy. People that didn't have these comorbidities or hadn't upgraded, if someone was a regular faster, there probably wasn't a problem because they were digesting the parts of the virus that it never got a chance to take hold.
Right. So a follow-up question kind of, spermidine has a name that I didn't know about until talking with you and everything.
Okay.
So how do you cross that bridge to the public of introducing it to the media and everything so that they can kind of
it's a challenge. You've got to keep the 14-year-old boy from coming out, when you say it.
Yeah.
So typically when we introduce it, we talk about the fact we're a longevity molecule. It's found in every cell of your body, men, women, plants, and animals. It declines with age, but people who live for a long time have high levels of this in their cells. The molecule is called spermidine. Once you spend some time talking about the benefits, all of a sudden the name isn't quite as disarming.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And we didn't name it. Okay, the product, the molecule was first identified by the guy that invented the microscope, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, in 1793. He was obviously a freak because he had his semen on first guy to have a microscope, and he has his semen on it. So he's obviously a freak. And I don't know what he was looking for, whether he's seen if his swimmers looked like him or something like that.
Yeah.
But what they did is they identified a little crystalline structure in the semen. It didn't get named for another 200 years. And then in the 1980s, we started to understand the polyamine behavior and some of the cancer research. But then with the autophagy research and coming into the 21st century, is where we really started to figure out, okay, how does this work?
So it doesn't necessarily only persist in the sperm or anything like that. Obviously,
Every cell
it's
of your
in
body.
every cell.
Every
But
cell.
because it was discovered in a sperm cell.
It got called spermidine.
It got turned.
No, it got discovered in semen.
A semen.
So
sorry,
yeah, so it's not so. I'm not sure what the sperm concentration is, to tell you the truth, but I do know it's high in semen. It's high in mother's breast milk. It's high in any time that there's growth or a lot of DNA processes going on.
Okay.
So we know it's important there. It just got called spermidine because it was in the semen, so it was spermidine. And that's it's what's called a polyamine. We understand its production now much better, but it's in every cell of your body.
So we're talking a lot about how adults would take this supplement and everything. What about children or even expectant mothers and breastfeeding
I wouldn't
mothers?
touch it.
No?
No. Remember, children are going to have high autophagy naturally.
Right.
Think about coronavirus. Coronavirus has not been a big deal with kids.
Right.
They have high autophagy. They dealt with the virus well. As you got older, autophagy drops. That's when it became a problem.
see.
So again, kids are not investing in 401ks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mothers
Most
are
kids
not,
I know aren't.
Yeah. So it's that investment in longevity is when you start to think about that, and that's, by the way, that also correlates when we start to see the drop off.
I see. Well, Don, this has been super informative, and
thank
you
you
for this information. I'll leave you with the last words on how the viewers can find out more about.
You can
Longevity
find more
Labs.
about Spermidine. Sorry about that. You can find out more about Spermidine Life. Go to spermidinelife.us. That's our website. Lots of resources there. We got videos, blogs, information. You can order there. And if you have questions, you can use our chat on the site to find out more about the product.
Great. Thank you, Don. This is Dallas McClain from Biohackers Update Magazine, and be sure to check out Biohacker Congress at the next site in Boston, June 11th and June 12th. Thank you guys, and have a great day.